Yo, what's going on, guys? Superfly here, bringing you a new video. Today we're taking a look at the EAFC 26 closed beta feedback update that they've recently dropped. I will have the links for that posted in the comment below. So I did have the pleasure of having an interview with the Pro Club's goalkeeper dev and a lead dev for a 2-hour interview that we spoke about all the goalkeeper problems and some of the shot selections with the new driven low shot and the speed and power and things like that. And it was a positive interview. The guy who interviewed me, Keegan, really nice guy. And he really wants change, and he's working on the goalkeeper side of things. And we had a good chat. And yeah, I listed everything that I could within the time that I had and the things we spoke about. But we're going to take a look at the feedback here and see what changes that they made. Obviously, this is like an early patch note. Like the video, hit the subscribe button. I'm doing my best to communicate with EA with all the feedbacks with goalkeeper and in clubs in general. I want the whole club scene to be good. So if there's any feedback, even if it's not related to the goalkeeper, if there's things outfield that you guys are having problems with, whether it's defending, attacking, things like that, let me know in the comments below and I can obviously pass that information over. So let's take a look. All right, here we go. EAFC Sports 26 closed beta feedback update. Hey everyone, a big thanks to all of you who took part in the EA Sports FC 26 closed beta. Your feedback has been essential in helping us identify and prioritize areas of improvement. In this article, we are sharing what we are currently working on based on your feedback and when you can expect to see it implemented in the game. As part of our FC feedback initiative, we'll be looking to provide monthly updates like this once FC 26 launches. That's nice to know. That is really good to know that we're going to get frequent updates, information, and things like that. That is really nice because there's nothing worse than going 3 or 4 months and not really know what's happening. And hopefully they stick to it because it's really vital that the FC community know what's going on. ICYMI, the FC 26 closed beta ran from August 6th to the 26th with Football Ultimate Team, Kickoff, Clubs, Career, all available for testing. Below is the feedback that popped up the most during the period coming from the closed beta version of the player feedback portal as well as the closed beta forums. All right, so we've got low driven shot effectiveness. This is something I did work on and talk with Keegan and the lead dev with the low shots of how powerful and overpowered they were. So let's see what they say here. We've seen your feedback about low driven shots feeling too effective with goalkeepers not reacting at times. What's next? We are currently working on improving goalkeepers' reactions to low driven shots, and we are looking to implement this update before early access kicks off in September 19th. Before and after. Okay, so let's see. So this is before in the beta. Yeah, it's really powerful. Keeper didn't react. And he reacts there nice. The only thing I will say there, I know Keegan and EA have been watching videos. So if you are watching, the only feedback I'm worried about is, I did mention it a few times in forum posts and things like that, and to my community, that my only problem is since the low driven shot playstyle has come into the game, I believe it may have some sort of effect with goalkeeper animations. Whereas the shot here, I do feel like the game now tries to perform the footwork animation far more than actually trying to dive for the ball. You see it a lot more in like these far corner shots where if with the precision shooting, if somebody is good and they aim it into the far corner, the low foot save isn't going to be effective. And you do get that animation often when the shot is going into the corners. My only worry is, so this animation that we get here pulls off a bit too much instead of trying to go in for the save. Even here, where he shoots, the way the goalkeeper reacts to this, the way he falls back and puts his foot out. Obviously, it's nice if he's making the save, but my concern is any more to to the goalkeeper's right, and you're still probably going to pull off this animation, and the ball's in the back of the net. It doesn't also look great. The way that the goalkeeper, after the save, how there's, with his body positioning and how there's so much room there. Even now, look, there's so much. If there was a player here, I know they're working on rebounds and things like that, but this is my concern, is how much of a gap you got here in this net. Whereas if you were more central and you dive, or even if your keeper smothers the ball here and just can drop down to get that, you know, there's a pretty straightforward save that I think the goalkeeper should be really dropping down onto his side and gathering that ball. Don't get me wrong, if he tried maybe going, if he was a bit more on an angle, he'd try hitting it low to near post, or if the player here was more on this angle and he tried going a crossbody with the low driven or hitting a near post, then obviously the foot coming out into the open play here, and then a foot covering the the post, depending on which shot type he takes. I think that would be a more effective way to use that foot save, not directly in front of goal like this. That would be my concern. So if EA, if you are watching, that would be my feedback. I feel like the foot animation triggers sometimes more instead of going for a shot that should be technically saved. Like this is, kind of directly at him there, and he's making, a big, huge effort here to drop down onto his back, get the foot out. But it's nice if it works and you are making saves. But like I said, my concern would be these far corners. This keeper might not dive for it. So I'd like to see that and test it myself. But it's nice that they are working on changes. But this would be my little worry here. All right. As a reminder, this is a work in progress, and the visuals here and in the rest of the article are not necessarily 100% representative of what the final update will look like, which is fair enough. AI defending speed. Your closed beta feedback told us that there were some cases where AI defenders felt unnatural, fast catching attackers too easily in some cases. What we found is that the cause of this isn't actually the speed of the AI defenders. Instead, some ball trapping animations were slowing down the ball carrier more than intended. This means the attacker can take longer to receive a ball and get moving, making it feel like the defenders are way quicker than him. Okay, it makes sense. So before, that like heavy slug touch there, he's going to take it in his stride there. Much better. Yeah, that's so clean. If you look on the left here, he's like coming, like he's not like locked onto the ball here. If you see, he's not locked. He's like too worried about the defender. But on the right, in the same situation, he's more like drilled to the ball. He's far closer to it. And when he takes the ball's to his right almost here. And then he takes that touch that comes inside, and it kills the speed and momentum, and then the defender's caught up. Whereas on the right here, let's go back a little bit. If you just focus on the right here, on the right, the ball is obviously moving to his right, but he locks onto it, and his touches are much neater and smaller. I like that. That's a good implement, that. Because when I did play outfield, I did notice that as well. When you got the ball to get going, took that extra 1 or 2 steps, and the defender was up your ass, if I put it politely. Okay, so attacking AI positioning. We've seen your examples of AI attackers sometimes not making the runs you'd expect, or going offside frequently. Yeah, that happened a lot. When me and White Gamer were playing, the amount of offsides that were happening was crazy. Honestly, I could probably put like an hour-long video of how long like the AI were running offside, and complementing that with when I was playing up as a striker, as a goalkeeper, that I did score 3 goals in my first game. Let's not forget about that. When I was calling for the ball, when I was making my run, the AI took too long to pass the ball, and then I was offside, and then it'd pass. The offside was a big thing, especially from my experience. We were making improvements for early access, so players can recognize open space faster and move into it regardless of their role or familiarity. They'll also time the runs more effectively to stay onside for incoming passes. All right, let's see how that works when the game comes out. Clubs. And again, this is something that we did speak about with Keegan, who touched on it a lot. Summary, we've seen plenty of excitement for the archetypes in FC26. We've also seen that some of you feel the progression wasn't as satisfying as it could be during the closed beta. To give more customization freedom, here's what currently we're working on. Increasing the amount of attribute points AP awarded at level 1. Increasing the amount of attribute points awarded per level. Yeah, this is something that we did touch on Obviously, I can't say what the result of it was, but this is something I did bring up, or they brought to me, and I liked the idea at the start of archetypes, but then the more I played, I realized that I didn't have much freedom with my player. If I was putting points into the goalkeepers, the stats that that I like to put in, I was heavily affected by not having playstyles, because they were asking me to put playstyles in acceleration or jumping and things that I don't want to put my stats into. So I actually played the whole beta without having any playstyles. Only the 2 playstyles you get given with your archetype, because I focused more on the goalkeeper diving and reactions and things like that. So hopefully with the increased attribute points, we can get more customizable options with getting different points in certain places to get those playstyles that we need. We're targeting early access for these changes. So yeah, it's not guaranteed to be out for early access, but they're targeting it for early access. Manager and career mode. I didn't play the career mode. There's been some confusion in manager career regarding when players are ready to start contract renewal talks. Some of this confusion came from unintended in-game messaging that made it sound like the player is happy with their current contract, and we've seen a lot of feedback on contract renewal willingness functionality. What's next? We're looking at addressing the text ahead of early access, and we are updating how player willingness to renew works as well. You'll now be able to get messages on a weekly basis from the start of this save regarding players in the last 12 to 18 months of their contract. So they're looking at obviously giving you more frequent information regarding contracts and things like that. Heavy dribble touches. We've seen feedback saying that dribbling touches sometimes send the ball too far in front of the attacker, making it too easy for them to get dispossessed. We're going to be closely monitoring this topic when FC26 is out, but for now, we've identified cases of this occurring in wet weather, authentic present gameplay. AI call for pass delay. Yeah, this is something I touched on earlier on. Giving us feedback. Sometimes AI players could take unnecessary touches, or sometimes they might even stop to think, yeah, this was something that me and White saw a lot. It was like they ran out of ideas, like completely. It was like the coding for the game like had a brain fart. It was pretty funny to see actually, but yeah, like I said, and by this time, if you were calling for the ball, making a run through, you were offside, and then they would pass you the ball. It was a mess. It's nice to see they've identified that and they're working on it. Okay, be a goalkeeper save delay. This is a huge thing that we spoke about. You guys know the things that I would have brought to EA. It's all your feedback, my feedback over the years. But I promise you, they are trying their best to make it fun, make it viable for experienced goalkeepers, new goalkeepers, and they do want goalkeepers to make saves. Like, I can promise you that. And what we've been getting isn't what they want. So I can say that. And I am working closely with them, passing out information to them that you guys provide. So again, comment down below problems that you've been having that maybe I may have missed with EA, or something that they haven't seen yet. Comment down below, because they are watching and they are taking notes. In the closed beta, you told us saves, dives, and other aspects of be a goalkeeper experience could feel inconsistent and unresponsive at times. It was more all the time, but let's go. What's next? We've investigated thoroughly with our design council and are preparing a slew of updates that we are looking to release ahead of early access. These target the following areas, but are not limited to. So these are the ones they focus on first, and obviously they are going to look at other things and implement it as they go through the year. But let's see what they've got. Cross-claiming ability. So yeah, this was a huge problem where you weren't getting locked onto the ball. If you held Y to rush out to grab the ball, your keeper would just stand still or just like stutter. And manually moving out to get the ball was really hard, especially when, how fast the balls come in and trying to get across to them. And you're not getting locked onto the ball. You may overrun it. You may underrun it. Things like that. And then you got to press the punch or catch animation, the new inputs. It was really hard, and it was something I did heavily bring to EA in terms of being able to do these actions. I did offer them a suggestion. Whether they put that in a game is another thing, but they did take note of that. So hopefully the things that we spoke about has changed here. Save assistance. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this, because they haven't mentioned it here. I am under NDA, so I don't want to cover anything that I'm not allowed to. But again, this is a huge improvement. And I did query it, and Keegan did respond to why they've done this change. I don't know if I should say it, but okay, I'm not going to say what it is, but I'm going to say that there is only now one save assistance that you will be able to use. You can't choose between the three. There's only one everyone will use. Increasing animation coverage. Again, this is something that we spoke about. You know, they showed me some footage of this, some new implementations, and we spoke about these things. And they are, like I said, they are looking at making goalkeepers better. They know how frustrating it is for goalkeepers to make saves and the animations with the delay and the speed of the shot. They know all these things. I'm guessing these are like the first three things they're trying to work on here. This one, I'd say, I mean, it needs changing. It was really bad. I would say this is one of the least worries for me. It does happen a lot in the game, but I don't have to go to collect the ball, you know? I can just stay on my line and just wait for the shot or pass and wait for the play to build up from that. This is an optional thing to do, come out to claim the ball. The save assistance one, I understand why they've done that. And then increasing the animation coverage, this is hugely needed. But for me, I'd work on other things here, especially for this one. I would have prioritized maybe something else there, like maybe getting up off the floor quicker after making the save. They have mentioned about the delay, they know it, whether that's something that they've worked on and it's something different to this. But again, you know, the delay and the responsiveness, the animation selection, especially when coming out in a 1v1 and you're doing the make yourself big save and you're getting random animations, that would be something I would probably have prioritized over this one. It definitely did need changing. Foot and Ultimate Team. Our intent with the match-to-match time limits in foot tournaments was to design them in a way that encouraged completing specific tournaments that could benefit from condensed matchmaking. But we've seen your feedback about this causing frustration, so we are not going to have these match-to-match limits come the launch. Those of you who know what the hell that means, that's a positive, I guess, for you guys. In the future, there's an opportunity to hold tournaments that could benefit from these limitations. But you let you know, so it'd be like special events and probably things like that. AI shot selection. In offline modes, we've seen your feedback that AI players could sometimes hesitate to shoot in situations where you'd expect a shot to be beneficial. We've identified cases of this happening and planning to address this issue ahead of early access. With the issue addressed, you can expect AI players to be less timid about taking shots when it makes sense to do so. Guys, in pro clubs, you can expect this as well. So when you got AI running in and they're not going to like, you know, run all the way up to your box now, like your 6-yard box, they might just take shots from in and around the area. So be prepared for that. Please continue to share your feedback in the EA Hub and in the Discords. I would love to tell you guys what we spoke about with EA. I'd love to say everything that we went over. I am hoping to get a more public interview with Keegan or somebody to talk about some issues relating to Goalkeeper and pro clubs that I can post on the channel. I'm working on that. And I do have a video coming, hopefully before the game comes out, addressing a few features that I didn't really know was a thing in pro clubs as a goalkeeper. I don't want to give any insights, but there's certain things that I've done and you've done that are completely wrong in FIFA. And it's going to be an interesting one. Again, I'm waiting on Keegan and to give me a list of that information so I can fully make the video. I know a few things regarding that topic, but when that comes, I will 100% provide it to you guys. But yeah, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and keep commenting and applying to feedback, posts, and things like that, because they are listening and you do want change. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you soon.